Hotep. It's Shakandugu Kemet presenting Lion Israelite. There's a video online. I don't even want to say that it's circulating because it's so weak, but there's an image shown, and apparently it's supposed to represent Hebrews enslaved in ancient Egypt. I'm going to deal with that real quick and efficiently. Now this image is from the tomb of Rekmire, TT 100. Okay, that's the entrance right there. Now I'm going to show you what is on the wall over there in Kemet. That's there, and the actual part that is showing is there. Now I'm going to show you the two pictures so you can see. There it is. That's the one that is holding on the right, and on the left that's from the wall in Kemet. Okay. In the book Ancient Records of Egypt, page 282, it says, Rekmire stands leaning upon his staff, while scribes pass out among the people, where they receive and register complaints and petitions. Now I didn't know since when slaves can make complaints and petitions. Now it goes on to say, over Rekmire is the following inscription: going forth, that's number 715, going forth over the land every morning to do the daily favors, to hear the matters of the people, the petitions of the south and the north, not preferring the great above the humble, rewarding the oppressed, bringing the evil to him who committed it. Okay? Now, you can look up the instructions of Rekmire. That's when he is made a vizier. The vizier of Thutmose III, Jehotimes. On the bottom of the page there, you probably have to put a full screen to be able to read, but it says, Behold, the vizierate is not to show respect of person to princes and councillors. I believe there's been a mistake in translation. I think they try to mean that he's not supposed to disrespect them. But anyway, that's not what matters here for the issue. The rest says, it is not to make for himself slaves of any people. All right? Okay, let's move on. I tried to find ancient Egyptians for liars, but I couldn't find it, so I'm bringing you the ancient Egyptians for dummies, page 23. Behold, when a petitioner comes from Upper or Lower Egypt, even the whole land, see to it that everything is done in accordance with law, that everything is done according to custom, giving every man his right. A petitioner who has been adjudged shall not say, my right has not been given to me. I remind you that it's when Rekmire is being made a vizier. You can compare that to when a police officer is being sworn in. This is not an interpretation. That's the inscription that we have from the situation right there. Okay, let's carry on. Egypt and the Egyptians by Emily Teeter. During all periods, but never more so that in the New Kingdom, the most prominent feature of the bureaucratic system was the archives. Everything, wills, title, deeds, census list, conscriptions list, orders, memo, tax list, letters, journals, inventories, regulations, and transcripts of trials was recorded. No one of substance, whether vizier, army officer, or priest, eluded identification in government files. Now, I'm going to skip a bit. I don't want you to be bored. I want to get straight to the point. You're free to read it all. You should be able to if you put it in full screen. Otherwise, you'll have to look it up. If I found it, you can find it too. Few actual law codes have survived, but it is clear that the judicial system was based upon precedent and case law. Texts found in the tomb of the Vizier Rekmire, Dynasty 18, comment that everything is done according to what is specified by law. Alright? I would like to know if there's any law whatsoever that deals with slavery, because we have some little homies running around. Okay, let's move on. I want people to know that there's other things in that tomb. It's not only people working, which is now called slavery apparently. You can see the sisters chilling there. And yes, the sisters 3,000 years ago were as healthy and nicely shaped as they are today. You had musician, you're going to see there, right? I guess, you know, when people are slaves, they need some music, otherwise they can't work. Anyway, we have another groupie argument, so-called evidence. It's that dude right there. He's so enslaved that he's even smiling. Now, picture check. The one on the right that is showing, and the one on the left, that's the where he's coming from. A bigger one there. I had to look it up, and that's what I come across. That's online. The wall painting on the left is from the tomb of Ipi or IP, which is located at Der el Medina. Ipi is with his pet dog drawing water from the Nile with the shadoof. So from this point we want to make sure that it's the tomb of IP. I found out that it's TT217. TT stands for Theban tomb. I want to find some further references, so I found Egypt, the World of the Pharaohs by Regin Schultz, page 378. And we have the same image. It tells us indeed that it's the tomb of Ipui, spelled slightly differently as I showed earlier. New Kingdom, Tel Er Medina, 19th dynasty. Next reference, Who's Who in Ancient Egypt by Michael Rice, page 81 to 82. Tells us IP, sculptor, 19th dynasty. IP lived in the reign of King Ramesses II, and in contrast with that monarch's immense buildings, was buried in a small and engaging tomb at Der el Medina. It is decorated with scenes in a garden, presumably IP's, and with the small tomb chapel in which part of his funeral ceremonies were conducted, also in the garden. A gardener is at work. It may be IP himself, whilst his dog sits beside him. More references. The Ancient Egyptians by Anne Rosalie David, page 215. At Del Er Medina, there is the village of the necropolis workmen, and nearby are their tombs, the most notable built for Ipui. Now, whether or not it was actually him on the image, we don't know for sure. But what we know is that so far we haven't come across any reference that has to do with slavery. This is just an interpretation from the lames. We also have Dr. Ben that was on it a long time ago. Let's have a look. Black Man of the Nile and His Family, page 295. We have two pictures. Let's look at the first one. It says, an Egyptian drawing water seen from a painting in the tomb of Ipi. Next picture tells us, Egyptians of the New Kingdom period harvesting with their ploughs and steeds. Note that these so-called Negroes were ordinary Egyptian gardeners, not slaves. It's in capital for you. Dang, Dr. Ben told us 30 years ago. Now we're going to deal with this so-called slavery myth and see what all the sources tell us. Egypt and the Egyptians by Douglas J. Brewer, page 95. Inscriptions in the tombs of the workmen near the pyramids confirm that the workers were not slaves, but government employees. Life in Ancient Egypt by Adolf Ehrman, page 125. The supply of corn was due to our company on the 28th of each month. In the month of Famenoth, it was delivered 1 day late. In Farmuti, it was not delivered at all, and the workmen therefore went on strike, or as the Egyptians expressed it, stayed in their homes. On the 20th of Fakant, the corn was paid in full, but on the 20th of Paini, no corn was forthcoming, and only 100 pieces of wood were supplied. The workmen then lost patience. They set to work and went into a body to Thebes. On the following day they appeared before the great princes and the chief prophets of Ammon, and made their complaint. Last quote. Object Words in Ancient Egypt by Lynn Meskel, page 160. Workmen took numerous days off for drunkenness, for brewing beer, festivals, fighting, or, more legitimately, illness, and their fearless recording of these excuses was extremely common. Jensen, 1980. They also skipped work to pursue their own private commissions, such as making tomb goods or furniture for private sale. More seriously, there were several times when the workmen actively went out on strike when they felt their rations were insufficient or delivered late. A famous strike occurred during the year 29 of Ramesses III's reign and is recorded in a document now known as the Turin Strike Papyrus. Now I understand that you guys have what we call a belief system, what you call a religion. Therefore, you let your faith dictate your sense of orientation when it comes to logic. Unfortunately, in the real world, in reality, you have to deal with facts and then reach a conclusion. You cannot just go with an allegation of what somebody told you and then try to mix and grab everything that you hear and find to suit your belief, okay? If you do that in private, I don't care, but if you lie about our ancestors in Kemet in front of the world, then I'll check you in front of the world. Amat Hotep.